Social responsibility is about me, you, and us. It is about our action, how we affect people, the community, and the environment around us. What if we all accepted responsibility for the challenges that our communities face? What if we challenged ourselves to create positive impact with every action we take? Just like businesses focus on corporate social responsibility, JCI members are challenged to focus on individual social responsibility. We all have rights as citizens, but we also have responsibilities. The JCI Active Citizen Framework is a social plan that serves as a roadmap to sustainable development. That is what social responsibility is about. It is about me, you, and all of us taking responsibility for the future of our world, starting from our local community.
Social Show live with Viwe Tyolwana, only on brandlive.co.za.
Welcome to your daily dose of the Social Show. My name is Viwe Tyolwana and I am with you from 9:30 to 10 a.m. as you all know. And we will be highlighting the very best initiatives, forums, projects, institutions in South Africa and abroad that are working to change our current living situation. And of course, without leaving out the corporates that are meant to facilitate them, right? We talk all things CSI, CSR, and shared value, rather. And if you'd like to get in touch with me or have an opinion to share about the show or the topic at hand, please do so on our Twitter page, which is at Brand Live Radio. Or you can go to press@social-tv.co.za, send me an email and I will catch up with you. Also, you can go to www.social-tv.co.za for your latest CSI, CSR, as well as shared value news. Without missing a beat, let's get straight into our CSI headlines. Coca-Cola Beverages South Africa took top honors at the 4th Massmart Supply Environmental Awards. The ceremony salutes Massmart's local suppliers for their commitment and exceptional performance in the implementation of environmentally stable business practices. At the award ceremony, Massmart's top performing suppliers were recognized for their commitment to sustainable supply chain management, followed by the announcement of the overall winner of 2017. Coca-Cola Beverages South Africa impressed by working with Impact to construct Africa's first Coca-Cola approved food-grade recycled PET recycling plant. The plant has a capacity to recycle over 21,000 tons of PET per annum. CCBCA also implemented the Coca-Cola Beverages School Plastics Recycling Program, which has grown from 68 tons per year in 2011 to more than 1,000 tons in 2017, which goes towards supplying the new PET recycling plant. CCBSA also achieved a 30% reduction in water consumption and a 60% reduction in energy use per litre of product produced over the past 7 years. In other news, G Eco Growth Point Eco is the latest green initiative from Growth Point Properties, a pilot project that turns the large volumes of food waste generated by client businesses as its properties into compost. The project is a partnership with Life and Earth and has the potential for massive environmental benefits, and it is being tested at Growth Point Business Park in Midrand using waste produced at 4 of the Growth Point's large multi-tenant properties in the area. The idea was born 18 months ago when Growth Point embarked on a waste management analysis process to measure waste sent to landfills and the effectiveness of its existing initiatives to reduce this. Results revealed that water generated by the building users and is sent to landfill is actually substantial. And lastly, in our news, former Gauteng MEC Qedeni Mahlangu's whereabouts were recently confirmed to the Times by her attorney, Angelo Cristofori. Cristofori said Mahlangu, who is living in London and is a full-time student, was also doing an extra course at the London School of Business and Finance. She is registered for different courses at both facilities. Mahlangu led the process to relocate 1,712 severely mentally ill patients in Gauteng into family homes or ill-equipped NGOs in 2016, despite multiple warnings not to do so. By February this year, at least over 100 patients had died as a result of inadequate care, a lack of food, water, and medicine in what has become now to be known as the Life Esidimeni tragedy. Arbitration hearings into the tragedy began in October, but key officials behind the decision to close down Esidimeni homes, Mahlangu included, have yet to testify. There has been widespread speculation as to her whereabouts and whether or not she will testify. The evidence leader at the arbitration hearings, Patrick Ngushana, testified last Monday that Mahlangu has agreed to appear at the hearings between 28th and the 31st of January 2018. However, Judge Dikgang Moseneke suggested she be subpoenaed. Museke said he would not consider the hearings closed until Mahlangu and 2 other senior officials had testified. The hearings will now resume from Wednesday. And that concludes our news for the day.
Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Grow! Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.beastownmedia.co.za.
You're back on social TV, rather a social show. It always gets me confused because it's always either I'm on TV or I'm on radio, but we are back on social show. All we do, as I said, is talk all things CSI, CSR, and we want to make sure that you are well informed all the time, all day, every day. And of course, I've got an amazing guest in studio today. We've got Utsi Mkhombe, who is in business development in the Worldwide Fund for Nature, which is a WWF. I know you know about their I see their logo in my dreams sometimes because they're so well branded and they're everywhere. And if you don't know, today we'll be profiling and understanding the work of the WWF. And thank you so much for being in studio with us, Titia. You were here so early, and I have to mention that. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting us.
It is a real pleasure. Let's get straight into it. Could you perhaps give us a clear understanding of the work done by WWF for those who don't know?
Absolutely. So WWF, it's a nature conservation organization, yes, and we actually work globally in over 100 countries. But here in South Africa, we are actually celebrating our 50th anniversary next year.
Wow.
Yes. So we're 49 years now, and next year it's our 50th anniversary. And our mission is actually to stop the degradation of the planet's natural environment. And we do this for the human beings so that the human beings and animals are able to live side by side in harmony. And we are about conserving the environment so that we do not exhaust our natural environment for future generations. So it's about sustainability of our planet, so that if we consume everything now, what's going to happen to our children? How are they also going to survive? So we are constantly thinking of that as well.
That's lovely, yes.
And we say there's no planet B. So this is all, there isn't. This is all that we have, and we have to do all that we can do to ensure that our planet survives.
That's so true. There is no planet B. What programs have been facilitated thus far, and how have you worked to maintain them? I think this industry we'll get into the funding, but it's quite a difficult one to keep, the maintenance of it going. How have you facilitated your programs?
So our main focus is on food, water, and energy. So as a result, we focus on this. So we are in sustainable agriculture,
yes,
protecting water source areas, and promoting the use of renewable natural energy. So we emphasize that we should consume wisely and we should not waste. So those are some of the projects that we do. We actually have 9 principles that we work in, and 6 of them are purely conservation.
Yes.
And for the conservation work, we have different programs in place, like our water project, which is ensuring that our water source areas are secured from pollution so that people have healthy fresh water. We actually have 21 key catchment areas across South Africa that are being poorly protected. So we need to make sure that they're secured and able to provide us with water. And this water is for food, energy, as well as for the plants or the natural environment as well. And we also have a program called the Journey of Water.
Yes.
Yes, and it's a project that highlights the journey that water takes from the source until it reaches into your household. And we actually say water doesn't come from a tap.
Yes.
Try telling that to our children. They don't
Yes,
understand.
that comes out of a tap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we are conscientizing people to say
Yes.
there's actually a journey, and some of the water doesn't make it. And so we are asking people to do their bit. So we actually have a literal journey that we take every 2 years.
Okay.
We invite some influencers that will be able to tell our story out there to come on a journey with us from actually the source of the water all the way, so that they appreciate the journey that our water takes until it gets into our houses.
Yes.
And this has been very successful.
Yes.
And it's been now a best practice that other countries like Zambia and Brazil have also started to do. But it started here in South Africa.
That's beautiful. And looking at how water has been scarce and the Cape Town situation, I think it's so important to highlight the entire journey so we can be more appreciative.
Absolutely.
I love that. What are the key constraints for acquiring adequate funding from private institutions to support your causes?
So, our biggest challenge is that from the funds that are invested by corporates in the CSR budget,
Yes.
only between 3 and 4% of that makes its way to conservation and environmental projects. So we are challenged in the environmental space, and we encourage business out there to evenly mobilize their resources in a balanced way
Yes.
towards people, planet, as well as profit.
Yes.
I mean, we talk about the 3 pillars of sustainability, right? We talk about the economic, we also talk about the social and the environment. So we are saying to corporates, in your CSI investments, also balance it in that way. A third each would make the pillars more equitable and more balanced. And for corporates as well, the more they invest in the environment, it's a way of investing back into their businesses, because most of these businesses rely on natural raw materials
Definitely.
that come from the environment. From the environment. So it's a way of also ensuring that their businesses are sustainable.
Lovely, and that's profit with purpose, which is now the new wave that's coming into South Africa within the CSR space, which I think is very important. Let's go straight into your programs and whether or not they're aligned with the NDP goals, sustainability goals, and if so, has the government also helped you guys in a way?
All right, so we believe that it's important not to work in a vacuum or not to work in a tangent, but to work together. We actually work a lot in partnerships, including the government. And we don't do this on our own because the issues of protecting the environment, they are shared responsibility.
Yes.
It's not just us as WWF, but
It's
the government, us individuals.
collaboration.
It's absolutely about collaboration. So we also are aligned with the NDP and SDG goals because they are doing what we're doing as well. So together we can be more effective in what we're doing. So we are aligned around water. As discussed, our water is very important to us because it's for people and for nature. And we are aligning around oceans, productive and resilient ocean ecosystems and livelihoods.
Yes.
We actually have a program called SASSI, which is about protecting our marine life so that we are not consuming too much, which won't be enough for our future generations. So you can download the SASSI app and find out more information about that. But we've got a red list, which shows you endangered species,
Yes.
an orange list, which shows you species that you can consume once in a while.
Yes.
And we've got the green list, which is good to go
Okay.
at all times. Yeah. And then we also have land projects, wildlife projects, which are securing species and assisting people living close to the wildlife.
Lovely.
So that they also benefit.
Yes.
And then food, sustainable systems, food systems, and then climate and energy to encourage the move towards renewable energy.
Yes.
So that's where the alignment is there. And it's important to work with government, and we do enjoy good relationships with government. And we assist the government. NGOs are there. We assist the government to do some of the work because the resources are not enough for the government to do that alone. And part of our role is to influence policy at government level
Lovely.
as well. Yeah.
I think policy is where the change really is. When they start thinking and changing laws around environment and how you give to environment as corporates, I think we'll start seeing a mass change. So I love that you guys are doing that.
Sure.
What areas in South Africa are suffering right now in securing the health of biodiversity and wildlife in the wildlife industry? Yeah.
Okay, let me mention our grasslands. The work in our grasslands coincides with water resource areas.
Yes.
So that's an important part of our work because securing those areas means that we are securing water as well. So the grasslands is where 50% of our water actually comes from, and we have to ensure that the biodiversity is supported there and generates the resilience for water security. As you know, water is life.
Yes.
And we can't do anything without it. Right now, as you know, Cape Town, they're challenged in terms of water, and
Yes.
people have awakened to how to conserve water. But we can do that before we get to that area.
Critical stage.
Yeah, and there's also parts in the country that are struggling with the rhino poaching.
Yes.
And we are working very closely on
Yes.
rhino matters, both in KZN and in the Lawveld and towards Mozambique. And I know most people know us as saving rhinos.
Rhinos, yes.
Yes, but the threats that the rhinos are actually experiencing, it's not only the rhinos, but other species, other animal species as well. Your elephants are also suffering. We've got birds that are also suffering. And this is important, that all animal life is important.
I completely agree with you. What role does civil society and people like myself play to sort of uplift and support projects such as yours? I think we're not doing enough volunteering. We're not doing enough educating of self. What do you think we can do differently, and what can people do to help support your all of your efforts around water, biodiversity, endangered animals, and so forth?
Sure. So for civil society, they've got a voice, and they're out there, they're effective, they're already known and trusted. So they can help us to spread our message to communities, to other areas that they work in, other stakeholders that they
Yes.
also have, to conserve the environment and not to waste. We waste water, we waste energy, we waste food. People are throwing away food, like in this heat. Sometimes the food just gets off. So we are saying to people, do your bit in your own household, with your children, and with your neighbors,
Yes.
and in your communities. Talk about these issues, educate our kids, who are the future generation, and who are the ones that we want to make sure the planet is sustainable for. So individuals can be part of that in their own everyday lifestyle.
Yes.
The way you are taking a shower in the morning, for example, sometimes people will switch on water, let it run a little bit before they jump in after it's now a bit warmer. So instead of letting that water just go down the drain, put a bucket, save that water, and use
Use it for something else.
Wash your car, use it in
Yes.
the garden.
Completely agree.
And brushing, simple things like brushing your teeth in the
Yes.
morning. People lose, a lot of water is lost. Maybe put your water in a glass, not to just leave the tap going, and losing a lot of water. Sometimes boiling water, people boil a full kettle just for a cup of tea, which they won't use the rest of it. And
OMG.
so
That's
if you're
true.
going to have a cup of two or two, just boil enough water for that, yeah. And just to be environmentally conscious. In what you're doing, and being conscious about what you're consuming.
Yes.
Whether it's food, don't waste that food, or consume in a way that is sustainable.
Yes.
Yeah, and also just some other practical ways. We go to the supermarket, they'll say, can we pack a bag for you? And you say, yeah, and you've got a trolley full, and you go home with all these bags.
And you don't know what to do with them.
And and plastic is bad for the environment.
Yes.
So instead we say, invest in a large bag, which is recyclable and which is reusable. You use it again and again. Initially it may seem like it's cheaper to get the plastics, but
It actually isn't.
it actually isn't. So we say do that. And we talked about our SASSI program. So consume wisely when you're consuming seafood. I know sometimes when people become more affluent, they suddenly get tastes for other rare species. But let's be wise. Let's consume, yeah. And then we also have conservation champion wines out there. So look out for those. And just to live positively, our behavior, just to change, even if it's small issues, but small ways. But
There it is.
when we all change our behavior,
We're
it
able to.
contributes a lot.
Completely agree. And just to wrap up, before we wrap up, actually, let's talk a little bit about your past collaborations and perhaps your recent ones. I mean, the year is ending. It's November. And I'd like to know what it is that you guys have done so far and what you hope to do to sort of make WWF what it is today.
So we've done a lot. Like I said, our projects are around water, energy, and food. So we've done a lot. Throughout the year, we are collaborating with corporates. We are inviting them to our events. We did Earth Hour, Water Week. We did the Journey of Water,
Yes.
renewable energy. So we are doing all those projects throughout. And some of our what we mostly do is collaborate with other partners,
Yes.
be it corporates, be it government, be it communities. So with communities, we're also helping them to do their bit.
Yes.
Because, like, if you look at issues that are impacting, it's impacting especially at the lower level.
Yes.
They're the ones who are mostly impacted. So those are some of the projects that we do. And we also have a business network that work with different businesses that partner with us to actually contribute to the conservation projects that we do. And we enjoy great partnership. We've got a long-term partnership with Nedbank through the Green Trust, which gives us over 500,000 people who actually contribute through their Nedbank affinity plan.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're contributing a lot.
That's lovely.
Yeah, and we also collaborate with other NGOs like us in the different.
Definitely.
Because the more we work together, the
more
more effective we actually are.
Definitely. And I know you guys are research and science based, which I think is so important as well, in disseminating that information to all the different NGOs. Lastly, how can people get involved? If I am a corporate right now and I'm listening, how do I get a hold with someone like you to help me and walk me through the processes of what I can do to help my business become more environmentally conscious?
So let me just refer people to our website.
Lovely.
We've got ways on our website how corporates can get involved, how individuals can get involved. And we've got different ways that we work with corporates, including actually working and informing their strategy to enable them to reduce their environmental impacts. And we also work with them through CSI projects when they fund our projects.
Yes.
And with individuals, many ways. If you go to our website, find out how to donate online. You can donate online while you're on our website. Or we have different face-to-face fundraisers in the malls. When you see them.
I actually have seen
You've
of you.
seen them?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad you have.
Yes.
Yeah, so they will sign you up for a monthly debit. Or did you sign up?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, fantastic.
If you check, my name is there.
Wow, thank you so much for signing up. And we encourage more people out
I
there
do
to
too.
do that. Yeah.
Definitely.
And then you can donate your SA Voyager miles to us. If you just call Voyager and tell them you want to donate your miles to WWF, they will help you do that. We've got an online shop,
Wow.
WWF online shop. So as we are going closer to Christmas, those Christmas ideas.
Hint,
go-
hint.
Hint, hint.
Yes.
So go online.
I love it.
And get those wonderful environmentally friendly gifts. And you can actually leave a gift for us in your will.
Wow.
Yeah,
yes.
people leave gifts in our will, and
That's beautiful.
Their wills. And then we have some sports events like Ride for Nature. You can also look it up on our website, and you can see how you can join in there. And Smart Shopper card when you swipe your
Smart Shopper.
and the Woolworths card as well. We also
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yes, you also contribute.
So you contribute even if you don't know you're contributing.
Contributing.
I love it. This is Titi Mukombe, who's in business development for Worldwide Fund for Nature. I know everyone gets it wrong. It's Worldwide Fund for Nature. Thank you so much for being here. I think it's been fruitful and it's been amazing just to hear the different ways in which you can contribute to environment. And I for one, am inspired.
Oh, thank you, Viwe, for the invitation.
Thank you. Now we're going to go straight into segment Things to Remember straight after this break.
Making a bold statement, yet blending into the surrounding suburbs of Melville, 27 Boxes is a realization of edgy design and practical implementation. A radical departure from the shopping malls of our generation, yet not a return to the high streets of our youth. 27 Boxes showcases the best of a shopping centre set in a garden, surrounded by the bohemian suburb that is Melville. 27 Boxes, shop, play, eat.
You're back on one of my favorite segments of this hour. Just before you leave, we've been talking biodiversity, we've been talking environment. I think it's very important that, if anything, this is the last thing you hear before you get into your day, before you get into your emails, before you get into your meetings. We're just going to highlight another great foundation who has taken their time out to help the environment. Let's take a listen.
400 kilometers off the eastern coast of Africa, Madagascar boasts unrivaled species and ecosystem diversity. Nearly 98% of the island's land mammals, 91% of its reptiles, and 80% of its flowering plants are found nowhere else on Earth. Scientists from Chicago's Field Museum, including MacArthur Fellow Steve Goodman, are studying and seeking to conserve biodiversity here. In Madagascar and 7 other areas of the tropics, the Foundation strives to strike a balance between conservation and the needs of rural communities in developing countries. A research initiative at Arizona State University is examining this question using case studies in Peru, Tanzania, and Vietnam. Other new projects seek to identify and mitigate the threat from global climate change on species in some of the most diverse ecosystems on the planet.
Well, if you don't know anything about the MacArthur Foundation, I think you should definitely go find out a little bit about their work. Something that I really think more universities should be doing in South Africa, a little bit more around understanding and securing the biodiversity in our own countries and maybe all around the rest of Africa. I'm sure there are a few programs, but in case you get inspired to start your own or get involved, that is our things to remember slot. This is The Social Show. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back again, same time, same place, tomorrow, only on Brand Live Radio, 9:30 to 10. Do not forget.
Making a bold statement yet blending into the surrounding suburbs of Melville, 27 Boxes is a realization of edgy design and practical implementation. A radical departure from the shopping malls of our generation, yet not a return to the high streets of our youth. 27 Boxes showcases the best of a shopping centre, say a shopping centre, say a shopping centre.